And then around halfway throughout the year, I'd been on a diet for a while, and I was streaming intermittently, and I was just kind of, very guilty over myself, because I had this period when I just wasn't streaming for like a week, like a full month. I just wasn't streaming or something. And I was just really grinding into myself, and I was just playing video games instead, and it was really bad. It was really bad. I felt super guilty, and that made me frustrated with myself, and that was bad. That was a bad cycle to be in. But then roughly halfway throughout the year, I was in another Twitch stream, and we were talking about things like, mental health, whatever, which is a very, mental health. It's a very, just mindset, perspective, thoughts, ideas, the human condition, whatever this, talking about souls, whatever it is. We were just talking about other people. The other people were just opening up about their own issues. And I related to these people, and these people had I was some guy with OCD, obsessive compulsion disorder, and he had it pretty bad. Another person who I know who has depression and has had it for quite some time. And to me, in my mind, I've always been very challenged, but to me, it's never been so bad, even though it's been really bad, it's never been so bad that it's ever stopped me. I've always been pushing back in a very meaningful way. And I guess it's just because, I guess you, after a while of just being in bad situations like this, you just grow a constitution, and you just learn how to persevere and just push through. And maybe that's just the case, is that I've always kind of just had it tough, and I just know how to deal with a bad life like that. Because my life right now is pretty good. That's also kind of hard, because I've never had a good life right now. I've never had a good life like I do right now. People are nice to me. People just come to me and say nice stuff. Never really had it before. I've never really had it before. It's weird. It's weird that people just enjoy what I do, in a way. Because my parents have always been fighting and stuff, and then they divorced, which was good for everybody. My mother's mostly at fault for that. My mother, I never felt loved by her, in a way. Never really had a connection with her in a strange way. And my dad, I love him, but my dad is preoccupied with stuff in a bad way, in a way that I don't want to be when I become a father. I don't know, I've always been fat, always had problems, always been tough, always been forced into this rigid system that I've always had romantic ideas about studying and all that stuff, but it's never been good. It just never worked. Camera's back on now, so that was a lot of things right there, but yeah, my life has basically always been hard, and I've always had a difficult relationship with my parents. Not really because they've been bad to me, they've just been sort of bad people in general, and stuff like that. My brother's always been there, so he's been nice. I've been good to myself in general. I've tried to really work my way out and stuff, and so because my life has been bad, I've learned how to just deal with that and stuff, and so it's kind of hard also to deal with a good life now, because I'm not used to that, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so during the first half part of the year, of 2018, I was just sort of settling back into a real life, like a life where I wasn't under constant pressure, stress, duress, and just hardship in a way. And so it was just very, very good for me in a lot of ways. And I went through a lot of old trauma, and it was sometimes literally I would go through so many old thoughts and resolve them in a way that it would release cortisol into my body. It would release pent up stress into my body. And I would go around breathing deeply, and so I had to start chewing gum, which I still do. I chew chewing gum every day. It's really good for me. It's really good for just dealing with stress. But so roughly halfway throughout the year, I was in that one Twitch stream, and I heard other people talk about their conditions and all that stuff, and what they've, conditions. I just had a tough life, and basically I realized that it's mindset. A big part of all my problems I've ever had is just totally just in my mind. And so I just decided on that day that I'm just gonna start daily streaming. Because my big problem at the time was just, I just wasn't deciding to do stuff. And so once I decided to be a daily streamer, now I had that routine. And since then, I've been daily streaming. I've been daily streaming for I think 166 days. And it's been very good for me. The reason I've just been able to go live continuously is because I've had that routine, that schedule. I've just been daily streaming a whole lot, and I just found my way to, I just streamed a lot of stuff, Fortnite, and then I worked my way into different games in general, like Paper Mario 64, and I did really well. I had I used to stream Fortnite, and I had 3 to 6 viewers maybe, my real OGs, we were out there. I had maybe at 200-ish followers by the end of that, and I was just working at the streaming myself and stuff and working things out. I actually started out streaming. This is a standing desk, and I used to stand up and stream. I used to stand up on the balls of my feet, and I used to stream for 3-4 hours. I was just exhausted by the end. I had to sit down. I couldn't stand up. Like, it was just ridiculous by the end of a stream like that. Now instead I stream on a bar stool. It's very good. So anyway, I started daily streaming, and I just slowly moved from like 36 viewers to like I streamed Paper Mario 64 one day. Paper Mario 64 on a Nintendo 64 emulator, like fully scuffed. And it was great. It was just great. It was just I was just allowing my personality to be myself, and I was just way more relaxed suddenly. And I started doing stuff that I wanted to do. I didn't just stream Fortnite. Because Fortnite I was just streaming it because whatever. I was streaming it because I thought when you stream you have to play a game, right? That's just something that's the way people watch you, right? Even though the people came to me because I was funny and interesting. Not at all because I was good at Fortnite. I mean, I was quite good at Fortnite. I was actually like top 25,000 in Sweden, Europe, or something like that. I was surprisingly high for. Then again, I was just playing Fortnite for like 6 months, a ton. So like it's. So yeah, after I started streaming Project 64, Paper Mario, and I played that for like 3 days. I played the entirety of it. Great game, and I had like 10 viewers, double digits, baby, double digits. I was doing really well. I was really enjoying myself, and a bunch of people were coming in and stuff, and we were having a great conversation. And then I started streaming Hearthstone, which it's literally, that game is literally just a patience tester. And I played that a ton, and eventually I got the Legend, and a bunch of, I shaved my head around that time, and I got 50, 60 viewers at the peak of that head shaving stream. That was really the moment when I like understood that I could do this. I'm a streamer. Like I'm a person who I can do this live. I can be live and do stuff, and people will watch me, and I'm funny, I'm interesting, I can do this for real. This is proof. The same way that I got that JonTron video on YouTube, that was proof of that I could make a video, and for really real, I was actually a funny person. That was proof. The same way I got 50 to 60 viewers just doing a head shaving stream. I still have the VOD, I have all of it. And I shaved my head, and I was baiting it because I was shaving the wrong way, and the battery was empty. It was just really stupid. And I realized that at that moment I could do this. I could be a Twitch streamer, for real. And then at some point, I tried TF2 one day, Team Fortress 2. And then a friend came in and said, hey, I was streaming TF2 the other day, like you recommended, like I had recommended to him. And I got hosted by some guy. It was great, it was phenomenal. So I gave TF2 another chance, and then the game just really clicked with me. I found the game that really complemented my personality, and was just like, what I found was a wallpaper. It was a phenomenal wallpaper because I could just play it in my peripheral vision pretty much, and I could look over at the chat, and the chat was the point. Talking to people and being social, interacting was the point. And it was just a just chatting stream, except there was a wallpaper in the background, and there was a flavor to it. And there was also a category that wasn't saturated at all. It was a category that was very, very good for just streaming and finding new people. It was beautiful for every reason. I just stumbled upon this thing that now I know actually what factors to look for if I want to find a new really good streaming game. But TF2 was phenomenal at that point. And I've just been continuing onto that, and at some point I started just growing. Like just doing TF2, I just hit that point where like there was a month where I got, I think it was November or something like that, maybe October, something like that. I just had like 200 followers. Like I pretty much doubled my followers just 1 month. And then since then, I've just had pretty much consistently 200 followers like every month doing TF2. It's just been perfect. I've just been continuously getting exposed to more and more people who just really like my stuff. And I should also mention, by the way, the camera that I'm filming with right now, I got that from money from a guy that donated while I was still playing Fortnite. And it's taken me up until this point in 2019 for me to really start making proper videos with it. That guy also kind of confirmed to me that I was just kind of a likable person in a way. And that was kind of important too, I think. Anyway, I found the perfect game to stream basically, and I was growing steadily, and I started, making huge improvements in life in general. I was getting to a weight that I really liked, and I was finding, friends and stuff, and I've just been building on that life since. I found an initial routine basically, and I worked myself out of where I was into a place where I am now, where I'm just successful in a lot of ways, in a huge way. I remember I recently, I thought to myself, I was laying in my bed basically, the same way that I was laying before when I was, really frustrated myself. I was thinking, I'm right now pretty much living the life that I wished I was living back then, when I was still struggling with Fortnite in like January, February and stuff. Now I'm actually I'm getting work done every day. I'm waking up. I'm sleeping too much maybe, but I'm doing this and that, and I'm getting stuff done, even if it's a little bit. And I'm streaming every day, and I'm moving my way forward slowly, which was phenomenal. even though it was so small. It was really all the routine I had was just live streaming every day. That was like the anchor point of my entire routine at that point. Eventually now I've gotten to a point where basically I speak my own mind completely now. That's something that I really couldn't imagine doing that like the first time I walked into like my first high school. But like through all the processes I've gone through, I've learned that the only way I could ever be comfortable ever at all is to completely speak my mind at all times, constantly, and be completely transparent about everything. And that's something that I do now. I literally that habit of being completely truthful and aggressively almost truthful, saying dumb shit like, you know, I want to have a wife and I want to shoot a hot load inside of her. Like I say that all the time. I say that like pretty much every day. It's true. I do. I really, really do it. That's just constant, reoccurring thought motifs, and so I have to express that when I think it, and I say it, and I do it, and I'm not ashamed. Because it's true. And people, I think, see that there's just a transparency there. And I think people understand that I'm just completely authentic in that way. And that also helps me, I think. I'm completely comfortable now on stream. In my own head, I'm completely comfortable on stream, and then at one point, hopefully, I'll be completely comfortable in person with anybody I can ever meet, you know. That would be very, very good. That would be retribution and vengeance against my own past self, who was just, you know, a soy child. Just a little boy, fat looking titties. That would be very nice. I would very much like that. To continue watching the next part of the series, click on the video to the right, or click on the full playlist to the left, and click on the channel badge if you want to subscribe.